Hello, travelers, and I hope everyone is well. This is going to be your Leo full moon reading for 16 February 2022. Okay, so we will be having a full moon in the sign of Leo on the 16th of February, and we're going to give this a 2-week time frame. So it'll be from the full moon in Leo, 16 February, to the new moon, and I want to say it is in Pisces. Let me check. Yes, the new moon in Pisces, which will be 2 March 2022. Okay, this is a general reading. For those of you who are new to my channel and new to my style of reading, a general reading simply means that it is not for any specific zodiac sign. It is just a reading on the possible energies for the next 2-week time frame. Okay, what may be happening, what may not be happening, that's going to depend on what you have going on in your life. And even if the messages that come out of the reading don't necessarily resonate with what's going on with you, I can promise you there's going to be something in it for you. I have with me the Radiant White deck. I have with me the La Vida Sibilas for clarification, should we need. And today I'm going to be pulling you a Sibilas Oraculum Oracle card, which is they're known as the Black Doves of Africa. That's DOVES, the Black Doves of Africa. The Sibilas Oraculum, okay? And that's what we will use to wrap the reading up. I have done some meditation and shuffling on this full moon, and so I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. I will do another shuffle and another rifle, and then we're going to lay the cards. This will be a 9-card spread. And there will be an overall energy. So let's shuffle again. This has been a crazy week for me. Lots of stop and starts and not being able to just sit down necessarily and complete one thing at one time. So I'm hoping that the energy will start to settle down a little bit for me this week. Here we go. First card out, the Hermit, the Judgment. Wow, big energy. Right off the bat. The Tower card. Huh. It's quite interesting. Alrighty. Okay, there's a message. Next card, the Seven of Swords. The Queen of Swords. And the Eight of Cups. Well. Last row, the Ace of Wands. The Magician, and the Page of Pentacles. Quite interesting. The way the cards are read, past, present, future with the interplay of the cards. And I'm going to flip this deck over to see what the overall energy is. It is a Five of Swords. Wow. I do not have any repeater numbers here. I have, I have 2 ones. So this is really going to be about either something that is beginning, initiating, starting, near the end perhaps of this 2-week phase. And really, I'm going to say, because it is a full moon reading, we can look at 3 days either before, leading up to the full moon, or after, but may play out all the way to the 2nd of April to the new moon. So I have 2 ones. I have a 7, an 8, a 9, a 20, a 16, a 13, an 11, and then the 5, which is over the entire reading. So perhaps maybe I should start there. The Five of Swords. First of all, it's a swords card, and swords represent thoughts, belief, perceptions, ideas, and communications. And so this is a card of conflict. The Five of Swords. Fives speak to changes, ups and downs, sometimes, yes, conflict. It is the idea that whatever changes are happening or whatever situation is occurring or may be occurring, that it's going to be kind of tense and chaotic. Okay, that's what the fives represent. The Five of Swords is, for all intents and purposes, it is a card of victory. It is a card of victory in the sense that maybe you have had words with someone, or there's been some conflict of ideas, and maybe you've had an argument. Maybe you have had to stand up and defend yourself in some situation. Well, this card says that yes, indeed, that you did kind of win that little tussle right there. But there's a warning with this card to be careful of this particular energy, because it can end up devolving into a situation in which people will do anything to win. So I get the sense that you may have won this particular round, whatever it was that was said or whatever the thoughts were. These people just kind of gave up. They don't want to fight anymore, right? So we see you standing, and always this card for me, whenever I'm doing a reading, will present the person whom the reading is about. So this would be you, anybody who's watching and recognizes this, that, you know, yeah, you won that battle. They walked away and said, you know what, I'm not going to fight you over this. But to me, there's some idea that perhaps maybe you should not have said what you said, or you have second thoughts about how that situation went down. Words that were said, okay, or thoughts. Here at the top row, when I laid the first three cards, the Hermit, the Judgment, and the Tower, the message that I got across was that for some of you, there's been a time frame where you've just been kind of waiting around. You felt like nothing is happening, and you're trying to, I don't know, see your way through this particular situation. You don't have necessarily any clarity on it or any light. You're in a sense kind of isolating yourself so that you can meditate on it and learn something about either you or the situation, what it's trying to show you. And then along comes the Judgment. Now, to me, the Judgment card it's a card of karma, first and foremost. It is about being called to some new kind of life, some kind of drastic overhaul. Maybe things haven't been going to plan for you as of late. Maybe you're just not happy with where you are in life. And so the Judgment card comes to say, well, that's karma. It is the cycle of ups and downs, like this particular five, that once you've been down at the bottom for so long, the only way for you to go is up to the top. But also, if you've been at the very top, the only way for you to go now is down to the bottom. But it says to me that there is, if you've been waiting on some kind of news or message or information, that is coming. But not only is that news or message coming, it is coming in such a way that it is going to perhaps shake you to your core. Whatever this thing is, it's going to cause you to question perhaps everything that you thought you knew. Okay? And it's going to wake you up to say, you know what, I can't keep doing this, or I shouldn't be doing it like this, or I need to change something. Also, the card of Judgment is not necessarily always about karma. It is literally that. It is about judgment, using your own judgment, trying to be objective in the way that you think about things. And what I see is the Tower. Now, the Tower is one of the most feared cards in the deck, along with the Devil card. But the Tower is not always a bad thing. In the Tarot and of the major arcana cards, this is the only man-made structure in the deck. And so what this says is that it is something unexpected, something that comes to knock us off our feet or pull the rug out from under us. It says that it can happen out of the blue. But as you can see here with the lightning knocking the crown off, this could be one of those aha moments, okay? Oh my God, so that's what, this is all about. Or, oh my God, that's what I need to be doing. Or this is why that happened the way that it happened. It says that it speaks about those things that we think are safe and secure, whether this is a relationship, a job, whatever the case may be, something that we felt was solid and secure, and something occurs and we find out that it wasn't. What I like about the Tower card is that the Tower card comes to completely tear down the structure. So this is any kind of structure that you built up in your own mind or in your own life to say that it's permanent, it's stable, it's secure, it's going to always be that way. That's what that building represents there, that structure represents. And then the lightning comes to completely tear it all down to the ground. And so the good thing about the Tower card is that it can say to you, okay, so now that this whole thing has collapsed, what you are left with is an open field on which you can rebuild. Once you clear out the debris, clean up everything, get an assessment, you can now start over. It is this Seven of Swords here in the second row that kind of, I'm not exactly sure what this is saying to me. It's saying several things. Traditionally, this card, the seven is a moment of pause. The 9 is a moment of isolation, but that's a self-imposed isolation, so to speak. The 7 is a moment of pause. It is you've gone through all the way from the Ace up to the 6. You've been moving, you've been traveling, you've been thinking about things, you're leaving some things behind, and then suddenly you arrive at a place where you need to stop and kind of gather your senses before you're able to move forward. Now, traditionally, the 7 of Swords can speak to spying and lies and treachery and fraud and deceit. But it can also be this idea that you're rushing around and you're not able to focus on those things you need to focus on. Okay, so that's why things aren't going to plan. And I think the impetus of that is this Tower card. Something occurs which kind of has you run around like a chicken with your head cut off for a moment. Okay, and again, I think it goes back to this 5 of Swords, and I'm going to tell you why. In this card here, there are 5 swords. Wait, in the 5 of Swords, there are 5 swords. So we see 2 on the ground, 1 being held in the hand, 2 over the shoulder. Here, now we see the figure taking those 5 swords, all 5 of those swords that were here, and trying to either move in one direction, but looking over their shoulder. Again, there are 2 swords at the rest here. Maybe I should go back and get those. Maybe I shouldn't take any of them at all. Okay, sometimes this card can be about theft in broad open daylight. All right. Now, one of the ancient interpretations of this card is a house move. I never see that. Okay, when I see this card, but somewhere along the line, I think it was Etiella, the 14th century, who first wrote the book on tarot, on cards for divination, came up with this idea that, there's a house move. They saw that and made that association, so I'm going to throw it out there. But what I think I find to be most interesting is that once this energy of the 7 passes, we find you, and no matter what your sign is, we can all embody the different qualities of the suits. We can all embody the qualities of the different suits. So the Queen of Swords is looked at typically as the divorcee. Okay, she's someone who's had some sorrow and tragedy in her life, but looks at things from a more rational standpoint instead of an emotional standpoint, has great advice to offer, can be forthright and forthcoming, and always trying to seek the truth. In its most negative aspect, this queen can be someone who's very sarcastic and cutting and very nasty person to deal with. I'm not picking up that she is in her negative. I'm picking up that she is in her most positive. She is all about looking ahead into the future to see whatever the truth is. She's got very, very clear thoughts. I don't, see the clouds here and how they're all zigzaggy and they're kind of gray. That speaks to muddled thoughts or confusing thoughts. But here we see the queen with her head above the clouds. So she's got a clear-eyed view of what's happening, right? What she's, I think, trying to get to the truth of is, has she invested enough in this? This is the Eight of Cups. This is a card of walking away from something. Sometimes if things are not in their best interest for you and the highest good, if relationships aren't growing, if you're not prospering, if things just aren't going well, then sometimes the best thing to do is just to walk away from it altogether. Don't waste any more of your time, energy, or emotions on it. It's off to seek something new. And I think this is what the card is, this spread is telling me about. For some of you, it will be a sudden leave. This could be somebody leaving, walking away from you suddenly. This could be you walking away suddenly from someone or something. But in looking here at the bottom, I have this Ace of Wands. In fact, this is the same wand that is on the table of the Magician here. He has the wand, the coin, the cup, and the sword. So this is about as above, so below. And in a sense, there's even this reminiscent of this 8 here. Okay, it is the Lemniscate, the infinity symbol. So this is as above, so below. So this is about creating something. It is about using your ego in such a way as to create whatever the situation is that you want to create. The Magician has all the tools necessary to do whatever he wants to do. So this could be about learning. It could be about going back to school. It could be about new projects. It could be about a start. The 2 wands that I'm talking about, the initiation, the beginning of something. Here with the Page of Pentacles, indeed, there is, again, some type of financial message associated with this. Or it could simply be a message about doing something in a different way. It's a Pentacles card, and Pentacles represent not only finances, but the doing of. So I have 2 swords, a cup, and a pentacle with 1 wand. Okay, so what this tells me is that there are more thoughts and ideas and perhaps communication happening than there are emotions or even the desire or the willpower and then the doing of something. Okay, now I have 4 major arcana cards here, and they hold more sway than even one of these cards. This card, the 8 of Cups, represents the only eclipsed moon in the deck, and we are coming up on eclipse season. I think the last big eclipse that we had that really affected America worldwide was the, the Great American Eclipse in Leo. Okay, and I want to say that was 2017, I believe. I never get that date right, but I think that's correct. And so this may be something that could go all the way back to the eclipsed moon or the upcoming eclipses, series of eclipses, which, let me see if I can pull it up right quick for you. Where's my documents? Hold on one second. Let me do a search for eclipse dates. I have it printed out somewhere, but I just don't know where at the moment. Eclipse dates. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. I don't see it in here. Ah, here we go. Here it is. So we have a series of eclipses starting this year. And what is happening? Let me scroll on down here. We're in 2022. And these eclipses will be happening across a particular axis. You can go to my website and we are looking at our first eclipse. It could go back to the December 3rd eclipse that was in Sagittarius in 2021, or it could be referencing the time of our first solar eclipse, 30 April, in the sign of Taurus. Okay, and so all this year, these eclipses, we will have 4. They come in pairs. These eclipses will be happening across the 2nd and 8th house of the horoscope, so the signs of Taurus and Scorpio. And So this could be kind of the timing that, you know, maybe come April, there's going to be some changes happening for you that you may determine that you're going to walk away. That is the truth of the situation. What I'm going to do is see if I can gather any information. I can't look at these two cards because traditionally they represent people. And so what does that leave me? It leaves me the 7, the 8, and the Ace as they relate to the Hermit, the Judgment, the Tower, and the Magician. I feel that after the 2016, up until now, it's been really a real roller coaster ride for everybody, just everyday life. And that's what these pip cards represent, the mundane. Okay, these cards, the major arcana, represent the spiritual. And I feel that what we're going to be dealing with, perhaps until the end of the year, but there may be a change, or even an imperceptible change as we go through these eclipses. And I want to say the last eclipse for 2022 happens in November. Now, interestingly, we have a solar eclipse October 25th. And I'm bringing that up because Mars will be moving into the sign of Gemini in October. Okay. I want to say, I have it written down someplace. What did I do with it? Hold on one second. It might be here on this paper. No, it's not on that paper. On what paper is it? Let me grab my ephemeris. So we're looking at October 2022. And Mars will be moving into the sign of Gemini. He will actually station, well, I think it will be a station which is going to be around the 30th of October. So this is a retrograde station, is what I think. Okay. And Mars moving into the sign of Gemini in October, that's a retrograde station, he will then be opposing Neptune at some point. Okay, and so I think this is going to bring about a change in energy. But this is going to be on a worldwide thing. So what I want to do now is look at the 7 of Swords to see if it gives me any information. It does not. Now, this card can sometimes speak of surprise opportunities. Here you are standing around kind of waiting, and then something out of the blue just kind of sneaks up on you. This is a yes card. Okay. Move to the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups with the Magician tells of someone who has within his grasp the ability to reach his goals. It is informing you that you have the ability to reach your full potential. It also asks that you think and consider very carefully before making any important or major decisions. Do not allow others to sway or hinder you, as only you know what is right for you. So stick to your guns. It's a Judgment card. But the 8 of Cups with the Hermit tells of inner realization and positive self-analysis. You are asked to move forward in your life and to let issues of the past heal. Do not dwell on difficulties, hardships, or perceived barriers, as this will hinder your progress. It shows a realization of potentials, unseen opportunities, and inner joy. Okay? So there's definitely a change coming, and this change may be that, you know, you might have to chuck some people out of your life, you know, or change the way that you are thinking and or communicating. And if not with others, then most definitely with yourself. So I want to take a look at this Wands to see if there's anything that the Ace of Wands can tell me. Well, it is. The Ace of Wands with the Tower may be indicating that you are currently unable to materialize your plans into relevant action. And you may be feeling frustrated and tired because of efforts that show little or no return. So perhaps for some of you, the only way to rid yourself of this is to abandon that idea completely. Let me go back and read to you the Eight of Cups here. What the Eight of Cups is saying to you. It indicates a decision has been made to move on and leave the past behind. You may have been caught up in events or were or involved in a complicated situation that has become costly. You may cut ties with the events and will not give them another thought once this has passed, but can imply that there is something of importance missing from your life and tells of a quest of finding inner contentment and purpose. It's walking away. A drastic sweeping change may be called for. It implies that long-laid plans have come to a halt and you may feel stuck. Now, this may prompt you to try something new, so think carefully before going back to established plans, as you may wish to abandon them entirely or amend and adapt your goals to suit the situation better. It suggests that it is a time to accept and move on in your life. It asks that you evaluate your life and lifestyle choices and then make the appropriate changes. The Eight of Cups indicates that the old ways are no longer working for you and it is time to make some sweeping changes. Once you have made the decision to move on, your attention will turn to seeking happiness and fulfillment. It is an indication of a new interest on its way into your life. This could be by way of personal relationships or new experiences or new knowledge. It indicates that whatever your plans of the past, they are not relevant for today. So new plans need to be made, which in turn will have you leaving the past behind. This card can sometimes indicate a situation where the only solution is to let go entirely. Regardless of how much energy or effort has been put into it, if it is still not working, the only option is to abandon it. Do not waste any more of your time and or effort. And while this card does signify a sense of sadness and resignation and acceptance, okay, this is about bringing something to a close. Okay? Now, there may be, I'm going to say there are at least 3 people involved in this, because even though I only have the 2 people showing up, I get the sense that this magician is a third person as well. But as you can see, there are 3 people in this card. And there are 3 people, well, actually more than 3 in this card. Okay? And so I feel sometimes this card can be the idea that if you've lost something, or if something's been taken, or you will find it, but it will be in the most unlikely place. I feel that the key, honestly, to this whole spread is this 7 of Swords. All right? So I'm going to pull Sabila's on the 7 of Swords. You know, it's that whole idea of if you've lost something, and let me explain what I mean. There's some kind of relation between this tower, this structure, and that structure way back there in the back. Can you see it? Okay. There's some relation to this. I don't quite know what that is. I feel that the very start of this reading, even with the Five of Swords coming out, I want you to look at the background. These gray mountains here, snow-capped mountains, gray snow-capped mountains in the back. And then we have this tower sitting on top of this rocky outcrop at the top of a mountain. So there's some kind of connection here of you know, mountains can indicate not only success, but they can also indicate the obstacles that you encounter as you try to move through. And I think as we come down to the middle row and down to the bottom row, you'll begin to see that the landscape changes. Flat, hilly ground. We don't know where she's sitting, but we can see trees there. There we see water and green outcrops. We've got this green field here. We've got flowers here. And we've got this Page of Pentacles standing in this green verdant field with these roses or poppies popping up out of the ground. So it's, to me, an indication. It starts off rather dark, right? And then it starts to lighten up. So to me, this is an indication that something is definitely going to be changing. But the question is, does it come about because you have an argument with someone, you know? Or that you realize that, you know, everything that you've been doing, you've just been kind of spinning your wheels. Nobody appreciates it, or it's falling on deaf ears. That kind of a thing. Let's take a look at the Seven of Swords. The Giovane Fanciulla. The Sacerdote. Interesting. And the Il Nemico. Now remember I said there were three people, at least. These are three kind of significator cards here. Okay? And the Giovane Fanciulla can represent she's the Queen of Wands, but she can also represent that idea of a situation or someone who has a bit of vulnerability, naivete, and fragility to them. And sometimes she will show up for no reason at all, not as a person, but someone as the idea of where the trouble is coming from. Okay? Well, she's pointing here towards the past, and her other finger is pointing down at this Ace of Wands, this new start. This is where the trouble is coming from. We have this idea of the Sacerdote. Now, he is the priest, so he can be that kind of person who might be a counselor or even a priest, yes, indeed. Someone that we can trust and count on to give us good counsel. But he, too, is pointing at things, right? His left hand is pointing here. Maybe you're receiving counsel from someone like this, but also he can hide things within the folds of his clothing. Most of the time he will show up when this is an area of some type of having to do with the law. So this could be a legal case where this guy might be the other side's attorney, the prosecuting attorney, what say you, and whatever professionalism or animosity that there may be, it's not personal, it is strictly his job, okay? Because we have here the Il Nemico. Now, the Il Nemico implies that this is a known enemy to you. Most times it is. Think of the one person that you think might be trying to do you harm, and this card comes up to say, yes, that is who it is. It's always a male, okay? And it is someone who's trying to thwart your every turn, all right? And they're doing it on purpose. Now, I'm not exactly sure. He's a Knight of Swords. I'm not exactly sure why he has come out. So if you'll give me a minute, I'm going to see if there are any indications of the Il Nemico with any of these other cards here. And give you an idea of the kind of person you may be dealing with. Now, The Il Nemico represents someone that you already do not like. You know this person. He has an open dislike for you. And his ambition and desires and ego clash with yours. Remember, he's waiting for you to be at your most vulnerable. Okay? Sometimes he can be someone who seems very nice, but is only trying to get you to trust them so that they can turn around and stab you in the back. So this card asks you to trust your gut feelings about this person or the situation and keep them at arm's length. Okay? It can represent someone who doesn't mind their own business and will be a nuisance, or can cause you downright harm because what? They're starting to pry and meddle. Remember, that old thing is coming back around. Now, it can be a mean-spirited lover or a vindictive ex-husband. Okay? Financially, this could be about snares and tricks and the danger of signing documents that we do not fully understand, and businessmen who should not be trusted. Professionally, it is someone who always works against you. His agenda is always personal, and he nourishes rancor against you. It indicates cunning and low cunning, someone who watches silently and then plots against you, jumping to conclusions as to why things are the way they are without being the slightest interested in what the truth is. But on a more broader level, it indicates unpleasant events. Scandal, gossip, pettiness, threats, blackmail, and something or someone who will become dangerous, like a snake. The person has a forked tongue, a spreader of lies, maliciousness, and gossip. Okay? Now, I have a feeling that what the cards are saying to me is that this is one and the same person. Maybe this is someone who kind of rides to your rescue and you go and ask them for advice, right? Thinking that they're going to help you. Why? Because you haven't just been able to figure out what the hell's going on here. Okay? But the person really means you ill, and they're not going to give you the advice that you need. Right now, you may be in a vulnerable position. You may be extremely naive, whatever the case may be, because you can't, you just had the rug pulled out from under you, and you think you can trust this person, but you cannot. So here, the card counsels that you use your own judgment, use your own mental acuity and whatever that, and speak your own truth, and walk away from this situation. And I think once that you do that, everything opens up. Okay? Now, I'm going to allow you to formulate one question for the Sibilis Oraculum. Indeed. There's someone that either you are about to trust or you think you can trust that you should not. Now, and I don't care what type of situation, whether this is romantic, business, even a friendship. And I think the Il Nemico says that you know the person. And you get a bad feeling every time you're around them. And maybe this person's just kind of lurking around. You know what I mean? Just kind of every time you see them. So be careful, because they're going to try to make a move. That's what I'm getting. They're going to try to make some kind of move. So you need to be ready for that. Okay? Here's your card. In Septum, it is an action card. It says initiative. See the horse there, which implies movement. It's kind of like it looks almost like the cross of have you ever seen the Capricorn symbol, where it's like the goat with this tail curled up underneath it? It kind of looks like that. So let's look. It is card number 33. It is an action card. I think it's an action card. Yes, it is an action card, and it is called Initiative. The hair of the procrastinator grays the fastest. It is a seahorse is what it is. Slow but steady. Seahorses have great difficulty navigating the depths of the ocean, but they remain upright. The advice is prepare your mind to move. No matter how small the first step must be, step, and do not stand still for any reason. And I feel that what this is saying is that you need to get clear really, really quick. Come up with a plan of action, whatever that may be for yourself, and move in another direction. And I think for some of you, it's going to come to you like a bolt of the blue that that's what you need to do. Okay? That's what I have for you for the full moon of Leo, 16 February. Again, that's out to a 2-week time frame, so we may be looking at all the way until the new moon in Pisces. I'm going to step out on a limb and say that for some of you, April is going to be very, very important. So you need to, what does the card say? Prepare your mind to move. I think that's what the card just said. Let's see here. Let me repeat that. Prepare your mind to move. Prepare your mind to move. No matter how small the first step must be, step. Do not stand still for any reason. Something's changing for you, and you're going to have a window until April 30th, which, February, March, April, that's just a couple of months away. So think about what you need to do and then do it. So I hope this helps. And until next time, I don't know who that guy is. You know who he is. You know who he is. Okay. So until next time, be well, stay safe, and namaste.